So great. So I suppose the project I'm going to talk about today is this one, and it's called OUTPACE. And I've worked with Momentum since 2012, and from the very beginning have been involved in EU projects. And somebody asked me recently what would be my dream project, or what was the one that got me most excited, and I'm delighted that it's this one. And there's a number of reasons for it, really. I suppose my own background is in media and English. When I was in university, I wrote a thesis, and my thesis was about propaganda and movies, and how movies actually influence us. Just an aside, but a lot of the movies that come from America, the US military actually have involvement in them. So they're involved in changing the script, and they might offer things like tanks to be involved in the movie, but then they want to see that they're being portrayed in such a way. Not every movie, but a lot of them, and that's what my thesis was about. So when this project came up, I thought it was really interesting, all about, again, pop culture tourism and how it influences people and where they travel and the type of experiences they engage with. Not very really well known or talked about in tourism spaces. That what we're talking about today is the first project that has ever been done on a European level about pop culture tourism. So it's very niche, but I think even here where we are in our region with normal people, we've seen how popular that was in lockdown, and many other TV shows like it. I think we all consumed more media and more film and more music in the last year than probably we ever did in our lives. It was our only kind of go-to. So it's a very, I suppose, timely project. The tourism industry now is in need of innovation now more than ever. And all of the projects that we have today, I think, have a role to play in helping tourism businesses now and in the future, maybe innovate and change what they do, access new markets. And as I mentioned, we've got resources to help them do that. Yay! So pop culture tourism then is the act of traveling to locations that are featured in popular literature, film, music, and other forms of media. Huge innovation potential to transform businesses, towns, villages, and regions. A lot of it is geographical based, but later on we're going to hear from a pop culture tourism entrepreneur and how he has created something really special that is not linked to geography, to an actual film location. And it'd be interesting to hear that side of things as well. Northern Ireland is probably the big one. And I suppose when we started developing this project first, Game of Thrones had just kind of exploded, and Northern Ireland was really on the mark for being an official Game of Thrones territory. 350,000 people coming to Northern Ireland in recent years just for Game of Thrones alone. So that's 1 in 6 visitors and 50 million each year. Now this was before COVID, but it just shows you how one show can just dramatically change the landscape and offer huge opportunities from big, small and different, all sorts of experiences that are there. Locally, this is an interesting one. I know it's a little while ago, almost 10 years ago now, but Moonboy in Roscommon aired in 2012, and there was a 185% rise in searches for hotels in Roscommon that year, which is really interesting for a show that went out in the UK. Again, lots of follow-on products that were developed around that. There was a Moonboy Festival in 2014, and Una Bón, I'm not sure if somebody's here. Hello. So Una Bón and many other of the tourism providers in the town capitalised on that, making a walking trail, creating merchandise, and I believe the walking tours are still very much visited today. So it just shows you that, like that one little piece can really change and make a name for a town. The project, I suppose, that we've tried to do is to prepare people for these opportunities. So very often what happens is you'll have something like Moonboy happen, and I suppose it's the actions then are come after the show, and it's too late then. So by the time the show is aired and tourists want to come now, that you need to have your destinations ready for that. So that's what the resources are designed for, to help people think about opportunities, what's being filmed in the region, what's being potentially going to be popular, and how can we plan and prepare for that. Really lovely one again from our region. The Quiet Man is the gift that certainly keeps on giving to Cong in County Mayo. They have just built their whole tourism identity around it. Released in 1952, there's a Quiet Man museum, a statue, the hotel there, the regular screenings of the movie, pub quizzes, all of this kind of thing. So we, geared towards the American tourists, but you can just see everywhere on Instagram and Twitter, people then creating content around that. So that's a really good example of, I suppose, a sustainable one, and one that has lasted the test of time. It's not all good when it comes to pop culture tourism. And again, I think it's because, we're not prepared for it. And we worked in this project with partners from Iceland, and they told us about the Bieber effect and what that had, what the effect that was there with them. So in 2015, Justin Bieber shot a music video in South Iceland in 2 relatively unknown places. And in the years that followed, they almost had a 100% increase in tourists to visit them. And of course, that has led to, those 2 spaces, I suppose the tourists not being very responsible there, not looking after the spaces, and then again, them not being prepared for them. So I guess when we're talking about pop culture tourism, we're talking about opportunities, but we always have to be mindful as well of the sustainability piece, the responsibility piece, and planning and going forward. And that's where the project comes in. So today we're launching the resources of the project. There are 4 resources. I'll tell you briefly about the 4 of them, but as with all of the resources that we create, they're housed on a website, popculturetourism.eu. They're free to download, free to use, and free to implement as you would like to. So the 4 things that we have created, the first output or project result is a series of tourism alliances across Europe, and action plans to look at how we can implement measures to improve pop culture tourism in our regions. There's a manual, so it's an introduction to pop culture tourism. We've got some open education resources, which is essentially a training course that tourism trainers, business advisors, even organizations can download and implement internally in their own organizations. And then we have a pop culture tourism innovators app. The first one, as I mentioned, was all about creating alliances and action plans, and we've created an action plan for the Northwest, very much focused on researching, mapping and opportunities in our region. And my colleague Val, who's down the back there, I have to give a shout out to, because she was the woman who's kind of spearheaded the research in our region and has done exceptional work on gathering the opportunities and keeping her ear to the ground and what's coming up as well. This first output is all about raising awareness, building capacity, and we share that then on the website on a special page for each of the regions. So this is the page for Ireland. We have a little section here about the key actors in our region, opportunities in our region, some case studies of pop culture tourism businesses and experiences, and then local initiatives that can potentially support pop culture tourism.
So WH are featured.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So I think, that's again, just looking at, how that joint up approach and how we can all work towards making the region more, I suppose, innovative. We've also got a Facebook group for this group of people who've helped us to create the alliance and the action plan. So we can share that with everyone after the event as well, and all of the links. And the second resource that we've created is an introduction to pop culture tourism. It's again very niche, and it's something that people can kind of understand, but to get their head around it and the different things that are part of it, we've created this very simple to downloadable guide. And I have to give my colleague Gillian a shout out, who's at the back of the room, our amazing graphic designer, brings everything that we do to life, so that all of our learning materials are, visually presented. I think any tourism trainer or business advisor would be, very glad to have that on their desk and to share it with others. So that's hopefully what we're hoping everyone will do. You can see here that, we're giving you kind of theoretical knowledge, but presenting it in a very visual way. So making the resources as easy to use as possible. And this was the part of the project that ourselves at Momentum were most involved in. This was the development of the open education resources. And we took a co-creation approach to this. So we worked with partners from Iceland, Sweden, Lithuania, and Northern Ireland, and everybody developed a module, and we created this course, which has been pilot tested, reviewed, and has been really well received by the tourism experts across Europe that have reviewed it. We've had almost 60 tourism stakeholders across Europe review these materials, and they found them very useful. So again, just to show you that, it's not just about, promoting pop culture tourism as being this, one size fits all approach. We're trying to show the pros, the cons, and to try and show the real solutions. So how to sustain pop culture tourism is a really important aspect that we go through in the course. And we give examples then of that. So coming back to Ireland again, looking at what has been done in Skellig Michael, I think is really interesting. They've got an amazing resource there. Star Wars, of course, has really catapulted that onto an international stage. But they've really been careful about who they, let onto the island. They have limited numbers. The season is quite short, and they're really doing it in a clever way that, they're protecting the resource there as well as promoting it. So I think that's a really good example for lots of other regions to follow. The Pop Culture Tourism Innovators app then is an opportunity for entrepreneurs themselves to train and to follow the resources and to engage. We've been talking about technology recently a lot, and I suppose putting learning into people's own hands is a really important aspect of technology and learning going forward. So the Pop Culture Tourism Innovators app is there as well to be enjoyed. And that really is, I suppose, the background to the project and what we've created. But, it's really when you hear of tourism businesses on the ground and what they're doing. And there's so many people that have created something without ever having a project like this. And one of them that we're going to speak to now is Conor Hamel, who is after creating something really special in Boyle. And I'd be interested to see how many people have heard about it. And if you haven't, you're in for something special. So Conor's going to join us by Zoom. So hopefully he's with us.
Yeah. Hiya.
Hi, Conor.
How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Delighted to have you, and I'm really excited to hear about what you've created there in Boyle. I've seen the TripAdvisor reviews, and I know that you're an expert super host. So whatever you're doing, you seem to be doing really well.
Well, it's going good so far. So I guess the Potter there's a lot of Potter fans around. I guess that's what we have in this world. So it's been a really cool ride, like, so far. And with the COVID, it helped and it didn't help at one stage. It helped me get more done, more ideas that I had get finished and out of the way. And then when it came into full lockdown, then I guess I'd nobody coming, so there was two ends to it. But so far so good.
Brilliant. And where did the idea come from? And could you tell us a little bit about how you got to set up Tria?
My kids are massive Harry Potter fans, more so than me. But we took my daughter to the studios in London a few years back for her 6th birthday, and it kind of set in there because I couldn't believe the number. We went on a Monday, like in January, and we had a problem getting tickets, so we could only get in at a 4:00 slot. And I'm thinking to myself, and it was like this place is packed at 4:00 on a wet January afternoon. This is bigger than what I thought. And a lot of people in the line when we were going in were from Australia and America, and these were probably adults in their 20s, early 30s, and they had been following this for the last 15 or 20 years. So I'm thinking to myself, well, there's a new generation coming around, and because I knew with my own kids, they're going to be, they already are big Potter fans, and in 20 years' time, they're still going to be talking about Potter fans. So I had the house then, and I said to myself, with Boyle, there was always this note going around that there's not enough accommodation for tourists coming in. There's no hotel. So I always had the idea of doing an Airbnb. I says, I'll try it. If it doesn't work, I can always just revert back to renting it as normal. And then after going to London for the studios, I says, let's have a go with this Harry Potter thing. And then with the lockdown, I had way more time on my hands just to get more of my crazy ideas out there and complete it. And I took my time at it and done everything right. There's loads of little things in the house that you probably won't see in the photographs that are little, it's little attention to detail, which a lot of people say in the reviews, the attention to detail. So there's a lot of that in the house.
Brilliant. And I mean, I haven't visited yet, but I will. But I think you've created something more than just a B&B. You've created an actual experience. It's a tourism experience to stay there with you. And I think I got that sense from the reviews as well. Do you find that people come not even just to come to Boyle, but come just because of what you've created?
All the people are coming for the Potter House. So we're not really in a competition with anybody else that has an Airbnb. They're coming because of, as you said, the experience, and that's what it is. It's an experience itself. The house, it's a tourist attraction somewhat.
Yes. Yes.
So that's exactly what it is. And I wouldn't believe it, but even some of the people who come here are not Potter fans. They enjoy the house as well, just because of what it is like. Yeah, and the kids that are coming, they're just blown away. It's like heaven for them.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. I think it's something really, really special for sure. And if you had any advice then for others, because I mean, you just took this initiative and you went and you did it and you ran with it. And if there was somebody else that maybe had maybe I should change my tourism business, maybe I should look at something different, what sort of advice would you have for somebody?
Well, off the bat, I think that if you like it's a competitive market. Everything's a competitive market, so you've got to separate yourself from the competition, really. So if I'm not a big fan of hotels, because you go into one hotel room, they're more or less all the same. You get the bed, the bathroom, and everything's nice and clean and tidy. So another thing, I remember one time when I was in America, me and my wife, we stayed in this place, in a place called South Lake Tahoe, and it was, all the bedrooms were themed. So there was a different theme to everyone. The one was like Graceland, and another one was like a rainforest, and there was all these different rooms. So that was kind of another, I always remembered that. Mm-hmm. And we really enjoyed it. And it wasn't like, it was probably the same price as a hotel anyway. And there wasn't much difference in it. So it was just, I was thinking to myself, if I go back to Lake Tahoe ever again, I'm going to go there again, because you're separating yourself. It's different. It's different. It's an experience. Yeah. It's
Brilliant. But I'm not sure if we have time for questions, but if anyone has any, Orla, you shout out.
Sabina on Zoom wants to ask a question.
We have somebody on Zoom. Sonia, maybe you could shout us out that question there, Sonia.
It's one of the comments. Such an amazing realization of something that you've seen in the past and been inspired to create such a unique product, and an experience, as you said, Grace. Just completely commend what you've done. It's brilliant.
I'm so sorry to be missing this, and I hope you're all well. It's lovely to see. So yeah, I just want to comment on that. So it's great to see Conor is part of your conversation today. So obviously, Una One Tourism, we're the Tourist Information Centre here in Boyle. And we've dealt a lot with Conor kind of over and back since he kind of moved back to Boyle and set up the accommodation. And I just have to comment on kind of the value of having accommodation like that in the area. I mean, we would have a huge amount of accommodation in terms of Airbnbs and bed and breakfasts and all of that. But something I've always been really trying to advocate is the value of the experience. And Conor is not just providing accommodations, he's providing an experience to people when they come to the area, and that's the memory. So, and the value that adds to us as a tourism community is absolutely invaluable, and the importance of supporting him in doing that, and that other people maybe inspired by that, and how that can help us to kind of keep rolling forward and developing, because, you know, Boyle in itself has a huge opportunity as a destination, and how we can sell ourselves in terms of our location. But it's people like Connor that will really add to the value of that for us. And it just, I mean, to go and experience the house, like I remember when he said to me that he was doing this, I thought, oh God, are you really not kind of limiting your market like Harry Potter, you know, or are you limiting what you can do? Well, Jesus, am I not eating my words? I'm a bit embarrassed now that I even made that comment to him, because now I'm like, we need more Harry Potter houses. So, I just wanted to comment, because I know I'm here in the background, but I just wanted to kind of fly the flag for Connor as well. And I think it's great that you guys have recognised him and that you have him as part of this conversation, because I think it's, you know, he is quite unique in what is being offered in Ireland as a whole. But I think there's something to it that we can think more about, because, you know, you have your Fáilte Irelands and you have all of that, you know, developing tourism brands, but it's not, they need the help on the ground to really use that and bring that along. And I just think what he's doing is unbelievable. I mean, when you come into Boyle, like his location, when you go by the house, your eyes are caught by the front of the house, and it's just really excellent. So I just wanted to comment on that, in fairness to Connor, and just congratulate him on what he's doing, and thank him as well for all that he's adding to what we're trying to do here in Boyle. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Really wonderful. Yeah. I think we'll have to leave it at that. I can't end it any better. So thanks so much to you both for joining us. Look, we hope, and I mean, as I mentioned at the start, this is one of my favourite projects, and if I can, I'm going to come up with a follow-on for it. So watch this space. The challenge is set, and look forward to working with both of you hopefully in the future as well. So thanks.
Yeah, I'm just actually back from my maternity leave, so I'm just kind of back in the saddle. And to be honest, you know, I'm just going to get into grips with everything, and then I've seen this project now and I'm so excited, because we're very energized in terms of development at the moment ourselves. So it's really exciting to see. So thanks for everything that you guys always do. It's great momentum, are the best.
Thanks, Serena.
And can I just say that if any of you guys ever want to come down from Momentum for a look through the house, just contact me, and that'd be no problem, because I think when you get to the house itself, it's even better than just looking at the photographs. You know, I think you get the feel for it better. So anytime, just give me a shout.
You're going to be in that tree house, I can guarantee.
Barbecue at Tria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both so much. I really appreciate you joining us and for your insights.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Liz.